Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started. It's the E-Commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart Mraz and John Suter. The E-Commerce Minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. This episode of the E-Commerce Minute is brought to you by Send Pro Online from Pitney Bowes. With Send Pro Online from Pitney Bowes, it's just click, send, and save for as low as $4.99 a month. Send envelopes, flats, and packages right from your desk, and you're back in business in no time. And for being a loyal E-Commerce Minute listener, you'll receive a free 30-day trial to get started and a free 10-pound scale to ensure that you'll never overpay. Save time and money on mailing and shipping with Send Pro Online. Starting at $4.99 a month, you can qualify for special USPS rates for letters and priority mail shipping. Calculate exact postage online, and print labels right from your PC. So go to pb.com/minute to access this special offer for a free 30-day trial plus a free 10-pound scale to get started. That's pb.com/minute. Experience shipping made simple with a free trial of Send Pro Online from Pitney Bowes. It's E-Commerce Minute episode 577.
In today's episode, Carlsberg is developing a beer bottle made of paper.
With sustainability at the forefront of consumers' minds, every brand has to put at least a little effort into saving the planet. The fashion industry, for example, sees brands like H&M using upcycled material for their clothes, and e-commerce giants like Amazon are implementing carbon-neutral plans for the upcoming years. While those industries are obvious sectors that need to cut their unsustainable practices, we really don't think about the alcohol industry and their packaging as much as we think about plastic water or soda bottles. But one company is taking the lead to make a change. Danish beer maker Carlsberg unveiled what it said is the first paper bottle for beer made out of sustainably sourced wood fibers. The move comes as part of the company's initiative to end carbon emissions at its breweries and reduce its end-to-end carbon footprint by 30% by 2030. Earlier this month, the beer company revealed 2 new recyclable prototypes of the sustainably sourced wood fiber bottle it hopes to eventually bring to market. One version is lined with a thin film of recycled PET plastic to keep beer from seeping out, and the other uses a bio-based lining. The prototypes will be used to test the linings. Now, PET plastic is a petroleum-based product that is globally recognized as a safe, lightweight, and flexile material that is also 100% recyclable, even though it is petroleum-based, which is kind of weird. Miriam Shingleton, Vice President of Group Development for Carlsberg, said that fiber bottles are better for the environment than aluminum or glass because they are sourced in a sustainable way and because the material has a very low impact on production processes. To make the process faster, Carlsberg has been partnering with packaging experts and other companies. Absolut, Coca-Cola, and L'Oreal are joining its efforts to develop effective paper packaging. More partners can help drive up mainstream demand for the type of materials it needs, making them more affordable to acquire. The company noted that they're not hoping to replace its cans and bottles with the new model. Instead, the company wants to offer its customers another, more sustainable option. Just don't go drinking in the rain.
Could you imagine? Just crumbles in your hand.
And
Carlsberg is like a tongue twister. Like, oh,
Carlsberg?
I just like it comes out of the mouth wrong for me.
It's got a bad mouth feel.
Yeah, it's
because you're not using the proper Carlsberg.
Carlsberg.
Because it's the American pronunciation.
Yeah,
that's why.
That's what I was thinking too.
Carlsberg.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, I'm a stupid American.
Carlsberg.
Oh my God! Wow.
Anyway, I guess the bottle is not going to leak on you. I mean,
because there's like a lining within the paper.
Yeah, so I guess glass bottles are, kind of getting out of style. I mean, metal or aluminum.
Aluminium.
My record went aluminum. Um, it's you've been seeing them, right? Like Bud Light and all those are making those bottles for, especially for places like concerts and things like that,
Yeah.
where bottle, it's not a, they don't have to give you in a cup, which makes sense. Um, this is I think, a better version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what's not mentioned here, not only from the environmental impact of what the actual material is made from. I mean, here's the problem: like when you go to a bar, or you go to a concert, they're not recycling the stuff. It's just not feasible.
Mm.
Now they try. They put the little bins around. Like if you go to like a sporting event, there's bins, and they say, "Oh, we're recycling," but generally, like bars and restaurants, they can't recycle. It's just kind of impossible. But what we didn't mention also is that if you're shipping a case of bottled beer versus a case of aluminium bottles versus a case of paper bottles, net weight, the paper bottles obviously are going to be cheaper, and then the truck isn't going to use as much gas to get it there. That's really what the one part of the equation that people forget about is like this stuff has to get there. Like you think about a truck driving, 500 pallets of water. Think about how heavy that truck is,
Mm-hmm.
That is a
and
good
and
ass
the
point.
and the and the gas that it's using, and the carbon emissions, and blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. So you look at this, and that's also a factor here.
Wow.
I think this is a really creative solution. I mean, if you look at the bottle, it looks like a paper bottle. It's tan and it's got a green Carlsberg label, and it's got a nice green cap on the top. I think beer purists would be like, well, what does it taste like? I think that
True.
would be the
Well, that's my question, right? But
yeah.
but if you're right, if you're drinking out of a metal can or aluminum can, that's that's always been said that changed the flavor.
Yeah.
Just funny to me because the beer you really want is out of a keg, which is also aluminum.
Also aluminium.
So what's the difference, right?
Well, there are I've noticed differences in certain types of beer from a can versus a bottle. I don't know what the chemical process is that changes that, but yeah, there are people that will definitely go, I am never drinking out of a paper bottle. I mean,
That sounds like the
Yeah.
same thing as like a Moscow Mule having to be in those copper cups. Like, is that a scientific thing or is that just like a thing? Like, I don't know.
I think it's just a thing.
I think it's
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean bottles. I mean, if you look at bottles for beer, right? The darker the bottle, a brown bottle is the best for beer, right? Because it doesn't let the sun in.
Right.
Whereas a light bottle like a Corona, and you have to hide them.
Miller High Life.
High Life, any one of them is going to go bad really quickly if you don't store them properly. So there's those kind of things, and this is a paper bottle that is there. I mean, for environmental reasons, yeah, sure, why not?
There go ahead, Britt.
I think that I just love seeing stories like this because like just the ripple effect that like things like this could cause because of like the pressure it causes. Like because there are some people who would go out of their way to only like get sustainable things. So as soon as like one company makes big waves doing something, other companies are going to be like, crap, there goes some of our business. I feel like.
Yes, you nailed it. You got a bell. You get a bell.
Get a bell.
I was going to bring that up because yeah, it's once something becomes either not substandard, that's the wrong word, almost standard, and sales start to go up just maybe accidentally because, oh, we just happen to have this cool recyclable bottle. And again, that all comes down to marketing. If this is marketed properly, then people will think, especially younger people who are more environmentally conscious, they'll say, oh, I've got to get that instead of in a glass bottle. Other brands will definitely follow suit. We've also seen other packaging trends where we've done a few stories on them where it's, why are you throwing this packaging out when it can be reused? Now, that's a lot of people push back on that because it's like, well, why am I going to get refillable deodorant? That's either gross or stupid, but that is a thing. There's refillable deodorant, there's refillable toothpaste. There's
It's
that one
common.
company, that's all they sell. They sell everything that's refilled. You pay once for the nice sustainable package, and then your refills are actually cheaper, but it's not convenient. And that's the barrier that needs to be broken down with this. So what we now have instead is we're going to have things that you can throw away, but things that don't make you feel sad when you throw it in the trash can.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because glass especially just seems like not okay. Like, to like have like 10 beers, like 10 glass bottles like that. Like,
I mean, you've been in a bar at the end of the night, and there's the bar back, and he's pulling out a giant plastic bag full of bottles, and he's throwing it in the trash. It's
Yep.
insane.
Yep.
It's
So
insane,
bad.
but it's not practical. So there needs to be some sort of practical solution. But again, marketing will play a big part in this. And obviously, taste. I mean, they'll work that out because, as you noted in the beginning of the article, there's some big brands behind this. And look, they're going to put money into this as they're going to put as much money into this as makes sense.
Hmm.
If suddenly, environmentalism goes out of style, look out, because we're back to glass bottles and aluminum and doing everything like that again. I don't think that's going to happen, but money drives everything. And unfortunately, that could happen. But right now, I think we're seeing a tide that's going the other way, where people are looking for more sustainable packaging and more ways to, look. I mean, I listen to enough podcasts and I listen to enough news and read enough articles that basically say, yeah, that's great. You're not using a plastic straw, but the net effect of you not using a plastic straw, the environment is still screwed.
Yeah, it's up to the
It's
big corporations
it's
at the
got to
end of the
be,
day.
as a society, we need to get away from the things that create more carbon in the
crap.
environment, which
Mhm.
is fossil fuel industry.
Yeah.
And what drives that is money.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go. But that's not to say that you shouldn't
Mm.
participate in this. You shouldn't be a part of this education that people need to have about the environment. And having something like a paper beer bottle is a great education tool to help people understand, when you throw something away, where actually is a way. you
The
know?
Mhm.
issue with this whole movement that's going to start to happen is consumers are going to feel the weight on their backs. Like the way that companies are releasing these products, it makes it seem like it's our individual responsibility to save the planet, which can get stressful. It really can. Like this whole movement, like makes you have like an existential crisis because you try to be as sustainable as possible, but at the end of the day, like all of our efforts are they definitely are important. Like it's absolutely important to be individually sustainable, but at the end of the day, like it's really not the consumer's sole responsibility. It is like we were just saying, like these factories and these cheap practices and these billionaires who could donate so much to climate change and all this, like it's so much. And I think that people are gonna get to a point where they're gonna feel like exhausted and like overwhelmed with the pressure of like saving the planet is basically my point.
You're exactly correct. You're exactly correct. And I don't know how to get around that. A
I
lot of
know.
it is education, but then a lot of it is, as society, we have a lot of ingrained habits and a lot of things that we do that we think, well, that's the way I've always done it. And there's also well, if you do this, if you eliminate this, then my family's way of living goes away. And once you start getting into that territory, you've got a big hill to climb.
Oh, absolutely. It's human
Um,
nature to be like that.
and what are public companies there for? They're there to increase shareholder value. And you start threatening that, if you say to ExxonMobil, listen, man, we're going to pass these laws and you can't mine fossil fuels any longer. And where do you think that's going to go? It's going to go nowhere.
Nowhere.
Right.
It's going to
Yeah.
go nowhere.
Yeah.
To their credit, they do some efforts for sustainability because they see the writing on the wall. But what they're trying to do is keep the writing off the wall for the next generation so that they don't have to worry about it. So it's minor things. It's like, oh, like Ford, well, we're going to make some electric cars and we're going to do this. But the gas industry is still going, yeah, good for you. But we're still gonna mine this stuff because oil is needed for other things besides gasoline, for packaging, for everything else that
Yep.
fossil fuels are used for.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yep.
So
All
good.
right. Well, we could go on for hours
Yeah, we
about
could.
this, but we got things to do. So, Brittany, why don't you tell us about today's sponsor?
Shipping and mailing from your desk has never been simpler than with SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes. With SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes, it's just click, send, and save for as low as $4.99 a month. Send envelopes, flats, and packages right from your desk, and you're back to business in no time. And for being a loyal e-commerce minute listener, you'll receive a free 30-day trial to get started and a free 10-pound scale to ensure that you never overpay. So save time and money on mailing and shipping with SendPro Online. Starting at $4.99 a month, you can also qualify for special USPS rates for letters and priority mail shipping, calculate exact postage online, and print labels and stamps right from your PC. So go to pb.com/minute to access this special offer for a free 30-day trial plus a free 10-pound scale to get started. That's pb.com/minute. Experience shipping made simple with a free trial of SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes.
Very good. Okay, we'll do some quick environmental stat time. 88% of consumers say they'd be more loyal to a company that supports social or environmental issues. That's according to Forbes. So that's a real opportunity for companies there, especially when they are considering how to use their ad dollars. And 87% of consumers say they have a more positive image of a company that supports social or environmental issues. That's also according to Captain Obvious at Forbes. And the World Bank estimated that the world produced 3.5 million tons of solid waste per day in 2010, and that amount is projected to double by 2025. And the other sad thing is, we talked about this on probably another podcast or two. Recycling in itself is in this country broken because nobody wants our recyclable goods anymore. So if you look about 15 years ago, where China and other countries were buying our solid waste to make it other products, well, those countries have become so developed, they don't want our stuff anymore. There was something I read yesterday. In Philadelphia alone, half of the stuff that you put in your recycling bin winds up in the incinerator. So recycling is kind of broken. I don't know what the solution is. So maybe some of this more sustainable packaging will help stem the tide. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
All right. That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media at Sumo Heavy.